79, I think it is, of the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. I'm Sean.
And I'm Ian, and this is the only podcast that says...
Nothing's over till you're underground.
Nice.
Yeah. That's the tattoo on AEW wrestler Darby Allin, who now has a kitten named after him.
Nice.
Yeah. The new member of my family is a kitten we've adopted named Darby Allin.
Nice.
Yeah. He is adorable, but a handful at the same time.
Nice.
Like, you forget about stuff. Like, even like when we got Sabine, she wasn't a kitten. She was full grown. Like, she was a good, I'm going to say 6 to 8 months old by it when we got her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, I haven't had to deal with a kitten in 10, 12 years.
Right.
You know, since Ahsoka. You know, so it's been very interesting kind of adapting to a kitten.
Yeah.
And I can't wait till he's large enough that I don't have to fucking worry about him 24/7. Otherwise, he's adorable.
Most kittens are.
Yeah. He's got this stupid little old man face. Like, got this little frown thing. Like, you know, like his front lips are like black. And they form like this look, looks like just like his little frown. So he looks at you. He looks like he's like, like he's like really giving you like a real like, I don't know what to make of you. You feed me, that's good. I don't know, you know.
Right.
So I get that he just got this little frowny thing going where you're just like, smile, Darby.
Is he scratching the shit out of you?
No, not really.
No, that's good.
Biting is his problem. He wants to bite everything.
Really?
Yeah, like, I mean, like, you know, I set my glasses down next to him. He bites my glasses.
Nice.
You know, you put them down next to, like, we put them on the table and we have this centerpiece with, like, these, like this piece of wood with, like, these, you know, like 5 candle holders. Like, and you put, like, you know, little candles in there. And, but that, like, the stems are made of metal. He's chewing the shit out of that. He's chewing the glass. I got him up in my room, like in the office. I'm watching him. He's chewing a monitor.
Nice.
You know, it's like, come on, man. A little control here, sir.
Right.
You know. Otherwise, you know, he's fine. Sabine's pissed, but I'd expect that.
Yeah. They'll get used to each other.
She will. Like, I mean, we're doing it the right way this time. We're trying to very, very slowly integrate them together. Mm-hmm. Minimal contact. You know.
Yeah.
She's aware he exists. She's seen him. She's sniffed him. You know. She's hissed at him.
Yeah.
But, you know, so it's just a matter of, you know, slow integration.
Yeah.
And hopefully by the time he's big enough, he can, you know, flex up and take care of himself.
Hopefully.
Yeah. That's the goal.
Cool.
So how are you, sir?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You went to the big show yesterday.
Oh.
The big show.
Fucking good.
Yeah.
We've been waiting a long time for this show.
Yeah, Ian went to go see Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, I think they've only come to Pittsburgh twice, I think. Once for Lollapalooza back when.
In the 90s, yeah.
And then once with the Wu-Tang Clan. And, but they haven't toured. I mean, I think their last show was 2008, but I don't think that was a tour. It was a festival or something. But, but it's been, you know, my God, never seen them live.
Yeah.
And they were absolutely fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Like, now he hurt his leg, second show.
Yeah, I heard that, yeah.
And so he was kind of, they kind of moved the set in.
Yeah.
You know, because he's nuts when he's performing.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
And so he kind of moved the set in a little bit, and he was sitting on like box, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't even phase the show. I mean, Morello was on guitar was absolutely amazing. But, I mean, people talk about some of the greatest guitarists of all time. He's probably one of them. He's a good guitarist, too. Anyway, so I know you won't beg to differ, but
no, I'm not going to beg to differ. I think the difference is like out of that era of guitarists, like the 90s and the 2000s, like guitarists weren't allowed to be guitarists. It was more about the lead singer, about the singer-songwriter, than it was like in the 70s and 80s where you had the lead singer sharing billing a lot of times with the great guitarist.
Yeah.
Like you think of the bands over the years that it's Plant and Page, it's Daltrey and oh god, I can't.
You're the Who fan.
Yeah, but it's always like C.C. DeVille and Bret Michaels. It's the guys from Motley Crue.
Vince Neil,
yeah. I'm like having a brain fart right now. Aerosmith. You just, with rare exceptions of like Eric Clapton, who was not only a guitarist but usually the vocalist. Most of the time there was a singer, like a singer and a guitarist duo. David Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen / Sammy Hagar, Eddie Van Halen. Stuff like that. So like I feel like when you got into the 90s, like I always felt like even more so than the death nail of like hair metal, grunge and the music going forward killed the guitar god.
Yeah.
So like I don't doubt that Morello is one of the best guitarists maybe ever. I don't think he's ever been given the opportunity to really be that guy.
Yeah,
now, I'm sure people will disagree with me.
In that light, I guess.
Right. But like the way I view it as like...
He's pretty good guitarist, too.
Yeah, I'm not doubting that. Like I can't doubt that. I agree with you. I think he's a fantastic guitarist. I feel like the era of the guitar solo went away.
Yeah, it did for a time.
I think it's still kind of gone away. Like I really had hoped like those kids 10 years ago that were playing Guitar Hero would have picked up a real guitar and learned how to play, and they never did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the guitar god still hasn't really returned.
Right.
And maybe it has, but it's so underground at this point because of how the music industry is, where unless you're finding it on Spotify or YouTube, mainstream radio isn't playing that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the thing.
But anyway, the show was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Political to a certain extent.
Oh, I expect nothing less from Rage Against the Machine.
I know. But see, that's the thing. It's like there's actually people out there that question like them being political.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were political. How? Have you been living in a box?
Have you not listened to the lyrics?
Yeah.
I mean,
come on.
It's kind of the reason why I didn't get into them is they were so political.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't my bag to begin with, but on top of it, I was like, oh man, I get enough of this from you too.
Right.
So.
But like that's the thing. It was just like it was just crazy. And
yeah.
It was. I mean, you saw the pits forming.
Yeah.
And some dude got hurt.
Yeah.
Second song in, he stopped the whole thing.
Yeah.
Made sure dude was all right.
Yeah.
He's like, make sure, you take care of yourselves here and out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, in the real world, take care of yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Be safe.
Yeah.
And but it was jacked. I mean, it was like that place was fucking thumping, and it sounded just like it did.
Yeah,
you know. I mean, they brought up a couple killings here.
Yeah,
you know, and then they kind of went on a little bit of a montage about the abortion thing and abort the Supreme Court and all that kind of crap, and not crap, but I mean, all that stuff that he was saying. I mean, it was good, but it was fucking outrageous, and like, I mean, it was. I mean, and so I just pulled up the set list. I just want to go over the set list real quick. And, started off with Bomb track.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, opening a show with Bomb. I mean, it was good.
Yeah.
People, the Sun, Bulls on Parade, Bullet in the Head, Testify, Take the Power Back, Guerrilla Radio, Viet Now, Know Your Enemy, Calm Like a Bomb, Sleep Now in the Fire, Born of a Broken Man.
Yeah.
War Within a Breath, Ghost of Tom Joad, Freedom, Township Rebellion, Killing in the Name.
Yeah.
And that was their set list.
Yeah.
And they just pretty much played.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. It was incredible.
That's the other thing I like and I don't like about bands nowadays, too. Like, you see a modern band now, like it used to be like, you know, guy was on stage, like, hello, Pittsburgh! And it'd tell you some stories between songs, and then they'd, you know, play a song, or two or three, and then they come, you know, the lead singer would tell you another.
Yeah, I'm not digging that at all.
See, I do in a way. I don't know. I do. Whereas, like, now it seems like they come out like, thank you for coming to the show, and they play 15 songs in a row, and then thank you.
You want Jared Leto playing 4 songs?
No, I don't. Like, he takes it too far. Don't get me wrong. Like,
a lot of them take it too far.
Right, but there was a time where, like, you know, like, I like a prime example was like that Springsteen 75 to 85 live album I had.
Yeah.
Like, there would be like little tracks of like Springsteen like talking, like between the songs and stuff, and like telling you the story about the song, or you know, or something along those lines. And like one of my favorite lines ever was, you know, if you have blind faith in anything, or in 1985. If you have blind faith in anything, it'll get you killed.
Yeah.
You know, something along those lines. And it was like, it was shit like that I liked. You know, like, he didn't go on forever and ever. And, you know, and Springsteen was known for playing, you know, 15, 20 songs.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't like it interfered. Like, you're right. Like, the last time I saw 30 Seconds to Mars, like, Nancy was pissed because they played 10 songs. And he was like bullshitting between each one, and it was like, "Come on, man, just play," you know.
Yeah.
So there is a difference. I get that, but also like, just like when we saw Gary Newman, there was no interaction, and that was in a small club. You know, he played for 2 hours and left the stage.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it's this odd thing of like that art is kind of, I don't want to say lost. But I think it's untapped. Like, there's a fine line that you can do both, where you can have some interaction with the crowd, tell a little story, and still get a large number of songs into your set.
Yeah, I'm good without it.
Yeah,
like the Pumpkin Show, when it was straight hours, that was like 2 hours and 30 minutes of just music.
Yeah,
I was good with that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know the band.
Yeah.
Now with Rage, would I want some interjection of political stuff? Yeah. But also, too, that their music kind of says it all.
Right.
That's the thing, you know what I mean? Like.
Right.
But, yeah. I guess they raised an eyebrow with people. With the whole, they're pretty political. I just couldn't believe it.
I mean, that's the same thing, like, people who are like, when did Star Trek get so political? I was like, 1966?
Right.
You know, like, I don't know. You didn't realize this?
From its conception?
Yeah. It's always been political?
Yeah.
Like, forever? You know, but people bitch about that. Like, oh, it's so woke. I'm like, well, it was woke in 1966.
Yeah.
You know.
So anyway, it's a good show. Loved it. One of the better shows I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just... I could check that off.
Yeah.
And I would see them again.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just felt... I don't know. It just felt right. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does.
For me.
Yeah.
You know, because I liked them.
Yeah.
And it just felt like really right.
Yeah.
It just... They match up with me, you know, somewhat politically.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I get what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah. So, but to hear him sing is just like... God, it's like... Perfect. Of course he hasn't sang in years.
Yeah. There are a few like bands that are like on the bucket list. I'll probably never see them though.
Yeah.
Like I'll never see Springsteen.
Nah.
No. And what he charges like too fucking much. Like I mean, $2,000 a seat at fucking Bryce Jordan Center.
Really?
Yeah. Well, fuck you. But also, like, I mean, even if you did a stadium show and I bought the cheapest ticket at a stadium show, like, I just don't know what Springsteen I'm getting.
Yeah.
Like, am I getting, you know, Born to Run in Jungle Land, or am I getting Ghost of Tom Joad?
Yeah.
You know, because I don't want Ghost of Tom Joad. I want Born to Run in Jungle Land.
Yeah.
You know, I would love to see ELO, Electric Light Orchestra. I know they toured a couple years ago. I looked at tickets and I just thought they were too expensive. And I mean, they probably weren't. Like, I mean, compared to like other bands, they were probably very reasonable. I was just like, I'm just not spending that money for this.
Yeah.
You know. And Nancy even offered to buy them for me. I'm like, no, it's not worth it. Yeah. That's probably like the last like really two like. I guess the Eagles, but they're like some bands. It's like a tribute band at this point. Like it's not really the Eagles.
No.
Like it's just a few of the original members. The same with Pink Floyd. Like it's not really Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
You know, I know Roger Waters came a month or two ago, and I thought about going to that show because you know it's Roger fucking Waters, and but I decided not to. You know, I just talked myself out of it. I'm like, that's expensive and. You know, think of what else you could buy with that money that I end up spending on, like, you know, cheeseburgers. You know, so it's just that thing of like, there are some bands I'd like to see, and I probably never will. But we talked about it last weekend, you, me, and Lisa after the show was over. I've seen plenty, and I'm pretty satisfied with my,
you
know, who I've seen.
Yeah. For me, I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be a band that'll come up that I want to see.
Yeah.
Like this Rage concert.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we got tickets for that.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, I've seen Crew. Of course, I've seen Metallica.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a lot of bands, Disturbed. Just to name a few, but I can't think of anything that's on a bucket list. Maiden was a bucket list for me.
Yeah.
And so are the Pumpkins. When I saw them a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That was a bucket list as well.
Yeah.
And there's not, you know, I don't have any interest in Pearl Jam. There's not really anybody from the 80s that I would like to see.
Yeah.
At least just saw the Furs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of really anybody. But I'm sure there will be a band that come up and be like, man, I gotta see that. I would like to see Duran Duran, because I've never seen Duran Duran live.
When I saw them, they put on a hell of a show.
Yeah.
You know,
Duran Duran would be actually a really good band to see. I could probably put that on a bucket list, because I felt out of most of the 80s music, I felt Duran Duran was probably one of the best of the time for me, because I didn't get into a lot of
I think they.
A GNR would probably be on that level too.
I feel like Duran. You know, it's kind of like when you say like, yeah, Motley Crue gets labeled as hair metal, and they're really not.
Yeah.
Duran gets labeled as pop, and it really isn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's something of its own. In my like, it falls in that category of pop music, but man, it is a whole lot better than 99.9% of what pop music is considered.
Yeah.
Like they are the top of pop. Of all time, in my opinion. Like you listen to Seven and the Ragged Tiger and Wild Boys, and like there's so much stuff in the 80s, the Wedding album, and you get into the 90s and even into the 2000s, like that album Astronaut from like 2008, I think it came out. That was phenomenal. It was like old school Duran Duran.
Yeah.
And that was And one of the reasons I wanted to see that show, Nancy wanted to see that show, and that album was important, is because they brought back Roger Taylor, the guitarist, or Andy Taylor, Andy Taylor, and Andy Taylor, and so it was like one of those things where it was like one of the few times they were touring with the entire original lineup, and it was like. It was an amazing show to see, and like that album is like a great album. The album they released after that, Red Carpet Massacre, I wasn't that big of a fan for. They just released another one recently. I thought, that wasn't bad. Yeah, it was pretty good. But I mean, they still make they still make to this day like really fucking good music,
right?
You know.
The I would love to see him.
Yeah.
Trying to think, there was another band that I wanted to see. I mean, I still want to see Chains, but it's different.
Yeah.
And when I saw Maiden, Dickinson was back.
Yeah.
And when I saw Pumpkins, 3 of the 4 were back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, like, that was a pretty big deal for me to go. Yeah. Like, it just wasn't Gorgon putting on some show. It was like the original members are here.
Right.
Which I thought was essential for a good show.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have.
Yeah.
I mean, Darcy you could probably get away with.
Yeah.
On bass, but you cannot get away without Chamberlain and Enoch.
Yeah.
There's just. I mean, Chamberlain drives that music.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So it's just. So that's why it was such a good bucket list show to go to, is because. I mean, that was a great fucking show. And, so yeah, and I'm glad the girls got to see Rage.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, so it was the first time for me and a first time for them. I don't know if Lisa saw him or not.
Yeah.
She probably did.
Yeah.
Because they toured more West Coast, I think, than East Coast when they toured.
Right.
This is only a 40-tour show.
Yeah.
They're going here in Cleveland.
Yeah.
I know that. I think they're going to Raleigh.
Yeah.
And I think I know they have like 4 shows in Madison Square Garden. Uh-huh. And then I think they have 3 or 4 shows in, of course, Los Angeles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Man, it was so fucking good. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
So that was it.
You know, it's a weird one I like to see. Garth Brooks.
Really?
Yeah. I know it's an odd one.
It is.
And I'm not like a huge Garth Brooks fan, but everything I've ever heard, he puts on an amazing show.
Really?
Like, every person I've ever talked to that's like, yeah, I saw Garth Brooks live, and they're like, it's probably one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Wow. And
I heard him in an interview one time, because I was curious about him. Because I mean, I like some of his music. Like, I think Thunder Rolls is an amazing song. You know, Friends in Low Places. I mean, he's made some good stuff over the years. But I heard him talk at one time. He's like, I will go up to the furthest seat away from the stage, and I will sit there, and I will think to myself, what can I do so that the person sitting in this seat has the time of their life?
Yeah.
And like, what the fuck is that mentality? Like, you know, like you concentrate, like you're putting on a show not for the people in the front row. You're putting on a show for somebody sitting way up there to make sure when they leave, they can say like, that was amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's impressive to me.
Yeah.
Because I've gone to shows where I've sat, like when I went to go see Rush for the first time in 1991, I hit my head off the dome of the Civic Arena. Yeah. That's how high up we were.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? We were in the last row. And I couldn't see shit. You know, I could barely see anything. So, to like have that mindset of like, what can I do to make sure that person has a good time and leaves here happy? That makes me interested to say, okay, I gotta see this.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and like, I think I'd enjoy the show no matter what. Because I enjoy a lot of his music. I don't go out of my way to listen to it, but if somebody plays it, I'm like, oh yeah, Garth Brooks, cool. Unlike most country.
Yeah.
You know, like most country, I'm like, oh, turn that shit off. But Garth Brooks, like, had a cool sound. And that's like an oddball show. Like, I'm not going to go out of my way to see it, but like if somebody was to say, hey, I got an extra ticket to Garth Brooks, I might go. I might like, okay, I'm interested enough.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So what else is going
on? Let me think. Not much.
Watch anything good?
I did on Thursday. I didn't realize they released all 6 episodes, but I watched a docu-series called Light and Magic.
Okay.
It was all about industrial light and magic. Mm. And I mean, a lot of it I already knew.
Yeah.
You know, just from like being a Star Wars fanboy, I knew what the beginnings of ILM were.
Yeah.
One of the things that it was like, shame on me for not putting 2 and 2 together. Joe Johnson, who's like an ILM like luminary, who like I knew like from back in the day, like he was like one of the big like people who worked on the original Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
He's the same Joe Johnson that directed like The Rocketeer and Captain America.
Okay.
Like I didn't put that together.
Yeah.
And this is amazing. So he's talking about, he's like, I finished Return of the Jedi. And I was burned out. You know, it had been a long run, like hectic the entire time, pushing the effects to get the best possible movie.
Yeah.
He's like, I was burned out. And so I went to George and I said, I'm done. And George was like, you need to go to film school. He's like, no, I want to travel the world. I want to see things. I'm done.
Yeah.
It's like, I've got all this money that I've made doing this that I haven't spent because I've been so busy being here.
Yeah.
I'm done. And Lucas was like, I'll keep you on. I'll pay you half your salary. And I'll pay for you to go to film school. Wow. He's like, well, how do you turn that down?
Yeah.
I mean, he turned into one of the great directors. Like, you know, there's a lot of stuff he's directed. You're like, oh, shit, that was Joe Johnson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like one of those things where, like, it's interesting, like, how Lucas repaid some of those guys and how he fucked over some of them. I mean, you know, Dykstra, he was like, yeah, you can go fuck yourself. I know you invented all this shit, but I'm taking it. I'm moving up north.
Yeah.
You know, and he left Dykstra, and, like, Dykstra was like, yeah, I'm still kind of pissed about that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But there was a lot of interesting stuff in there, though. Like, there was stuff I didn't know. I think the mistake that this series made was it doesn't have a season 2.
Okay.
Because the first 5 episodes are like, well, we did Star Wars, we did Star Wars, we did Star Wars. We were working on some other stuff in between. We worked on Star Trek. You know, we did this for Spielberg. We were doing this and this and this. We get to 1992, and this is when we, everything changed with computer graphics and Jurassic Park. And that's 5 episodes. 5.5 episodes. And like from like 1992 to the present gets like 30 minutes. And it's like amazing because it's like, to me, okay, like it should have ended with like, and this is where computer graphics started. This is where computer graphics began to take hold. And then the next season should be from 1992, and then, George pushing the envelope with, fixing, quote unquote, the special editions.
Yeah. But
then going into the prequels and the things that they were doing alongside to create some of the technology went into the prequels. Like, right. I'll never forget, like, I saw an interview with Lucas, and they were talking about the water planet that the clones were on.
Yeah.
And, like, they were talking about, like, how realistic it looked, and he's like, I realized I could write this in when I saw this movie that ILM had done the effects for about a fishing boat, like the perfect storm. If you remember that movie,
yeah.
Like, and he's like, that scene where like the boat is going up the wave. He's like, I'm looking at that scene, going, they figured out water. I can do this now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it's like there were things that ILM was doing and like the way they were creating things and making it look realistic that was also pushing what Lucas could do with the Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
The prequel trilogy. And like even after that, like everything that they did. Like, so it's like especially getting into like the Avengers movies and stuff, which ILM does a lot of the effects on.
Yeah.
Like, so it was like this thing of like, there's a lot more story to tell, in my opinion, of what ILM becomes after 1992 that we kind of glossed over.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of weird.
It was very weird. Because there were like other directors, like J.J. Abrams is interviewed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple of like, where he talks about like the amazing things ILM can do. Like, I know like ILM did all the special effects for all 3 of the rebooted Star Trek movies.
Yeah.
And there's the joke where I in the first movie where you can see R2-D2 getting blown out of a, he was like on the Enterprise, he gets blown out of a hull piece that comes apart, that he gets blown out into space.
Oh, right.
Yeah. There's shit like that. And like, there's always like, back when they did the Borg movie and with the Generations crew, during the fight at Earth, in the background, you can see the Millennium Falcon if you look close enough.
Oh, really?
Like, the Millennium Falcon was part of the Battle of Earth against the Borg.
Okay.
So that's kind of cool. It's shit like that they would like sneak in. But it's still like there was a lot of things that like they did technologically. At the end of it, they're like, especially like at the end of it, they're like, and then we created this, the volume for the Mandalorian and stuff. And it's like, this is amazing technology. It deserves more than like 5 minutes of your time.
Right.
Like, what? How does this all work? Tell me about it. Give me more information. Like, whose idea was it? And like they show like Lucas coming, and he's like, I had this idea 25 years ago. Like, this is how I really wanted to do the prequels, but I just didn't have the technology. It's like, see, people suck. Jesus.
Yeah.
So it's like it was interesting. Like, from like the nerd standpoint of like, I like that type of stuff, like seeing how like the technology was created to make the things that I love.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I feel like that, like, from 92 to now deserved its own series because there are so many technological advances in what the computers can do from 1992 to now. Right. As good as Jurassic Park still looks, and it looks amazing still.
Yeah.
There are like so many technological advances that were made that you can talk about and how that was pushed and the directors that push you to do it and the things like that. And instead it's like, we went over it. It's not nearly as interesting as like all this other stuff.
Right.
So, I highly recommend watching the series because I found it fascinatingly interesting. But at the same time, like, the end of it is disappointing because it's like there won't be a season 2 of this. There won't be further, like, and I feel like there's a whole period of time it deserves its own recognition. So, so I watched that. I'm going to tell you now, if you are not watching the Orville, there you have a problem. Like I understand you got to catch up. Like you're better off waiting until season 3 is done and then binging all 3 seasons.
Yeah.
But like I'm watching this week's episode, and this is like the 9th episode out of 10.
Uh-huh.
And something happens that had me, like, just fucked up. Like, I was just, like, an emotional wreck at that moment. Mm. And Nancy comes in, and she's trying to talk to me. And I'm, like wiping tears. And she's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, you have to watch this show to understand.
Yeah.
But, you know, but, like, it was amazingly so well done. Like, I know... Like, you think to yourself, it's Seth MacFarlane, it can't be in good taste. But it is. Like, it is so fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, I can't emphasize, like, especially this 3rd season. Like, I will tell you, if you haven't watched the show and you watched the 1st season, you have to kind of endure some of the jokes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deny that because he was still trying to be funny Seth MacFarlane. But by season 2, he's worked those kinks out for the most part. And in season 3, there are no kinks. This season has been phenomenal. I will put it right up there with Strange New World.
Oh, wow.
That's how good season 3 has been.
Yeah.
You know, and you know what a high regard you and I both hold season 1 of Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, yeah.
But this has been just as fucking good.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And, like, I know, like, right now I can hear Stork's eyeballs rolling. I can hear him, like, Orville. I can hear him. I can hear the tweets now. But, dude, and anybody else out there who hasn't given this show a shot for whatever prejudices you may have against it because you think it's something else, it's not. And it's some of the best science fiction on TV right now.
Huh. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So you highly recommend it?
Highly. Like, I can't recommend it enough. It's on Hulu. Seasons 1 and 2. And then season 3 is like its own series. It's because it's new. It's called the Orville New Horizons. But, I mean, it is just extraordinarily well done. Like, I can't believe how good this is. Like, I knew Seth MacFarlane was a good writer. Like, he can do comedy. Like, I still think there's some shit that's been done on Family Guy and American Dad. That's some of the funniest shit that's ever been put on TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and you know, I love good raunchy comedy. This is not that, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's not Seth MacFarlane doing voices and all this other, like, all the shit you think you're getting. It's especially season 3, it is straight science fiction and it is done extraordinarily well.
Yeah. You know, unfortunately, it sounds like he's been typecasted.
Well, like, I know the Star Trek community's pissed because he's basically, what he's really done in the eyes of some people is a Star Trek show better than Star Trek.
Okay.
Like, and again, like, one of the things that we just said, like, about the how political Star Trek can be,
yeah,
and how it's been that way for years. This is just as political, but it handles it in such a tactful way.
Okay.
Like, I can't emphasize that enough. Like, it really does a good job of, like, being liberal in a way,
yeah,
but handling it extraordinarily tactfully, that it's not like jamming liberal ideals down my throat, but showing me something different tactfully, and I respect that.
Yeah.
Like, it's done very, very well. It presents both sides of the argument in a way.
Yeah.
And does so very, very well.
Okay.
You know, they obviously they lean more towards one than the other, but still at the end of the day, a conservative value is not treated as something dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Yeah. It's an extraordinary show that I feel people are missing out on if you're not watching it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I watched the show.
Oh, what'd you watch?
It's called The Bear.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard it's very good.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. It's on my list of things to watch.
Jeremy Allen White's in it. He was in Shameless.
Yeah.
But it was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I would give it 150%.
Yeah.
Yeah. This dude can act.
Yeah.
And act well. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, so, it's a good show. Premise is his brother dies. He takes over a diner.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much a diner.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much a counter where you walk in, get food, and walk out. I don't know. Yeah, they do have tables, but it is really good.
Yeah.
And he's a chef. His brother ran this diner, and he ran the diner. He owned the restaurant, right?
Right.
But, you know, the main character was Michelin star. I mean,
Yeah.
He went out to prove something.
Yeah, and now he's working a diner.
Yeah, he came back and took over his brother's diner. They were estranged for a while, and then he died.
Right.
And he came back, and now he gave him the diner.
Right.
So, this show is top notch, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anybody out there need to see a good show about cooking or, you know, behind the lines and stuff like that, this is it.
I've heard it's a very good show. I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of been on, like, it's like one of those things that's like, okay, I got an eye on this, and I think I'm waiting until this and The Old Man.
Yeah.
Which is Jeff Bridges, and it looks very, very good.
Yeah.
And I've heard nothing but good things about it, too. So those are two shows that I'm kind of like I'm going to wait till both the season ones are done, then I'll probably binge watch them.
Yeah, this one's done.
Yeah.
But, man. So, they signed him for season 2, thank God.
Yeah.
But he's just really good.
Yeah.
And the terminology and how they word things, you feel like you're in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's behind the lines. It's like nothing really to have anything to do with out front. It's all behind the lines. And their interactions, their people, him coming in, you know.
It kind of reminded me, just from the standpoint of the subject matter of that Favreau movie, Chef.
Yeah, but
like different story, but kind of the same concept of behind the kitchen.
Yeah, and this is, I think, it is. It's similar, but it's not.
Right.
It's not that strong.
Right.
I mean, it's just. I just couldn't believe, you know, some of the stuff that was coming out. I was like, whoa. You know what I mean? Like, not only does it take you back, but you'll see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really that good.
Yeah.
And it's got amazing scores on, Rotten Tomatoes is giving it 100%. I mean,
I've heard nothing. I mean, I haven't heard a bad thing about it.
Yeah.
Like everybody I respect online is like, oh, this is an amazing show.
Yeah, there should be some Emmys there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's that good. Emmys, right? Yeah. Emmys.
Yeah.
But, so, I binged the shit out of that.
Yeah.
It was just really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the best series I've watched in a while.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as on that level.
Right.
Not, Strange New World level.
Right.
Different.
Yeah, it's a completely different style of show.
Right.
But based upon like our background as short order cooks, both of us.
Yeah.
It piques both, your interest. I mean, it piqued my interest because like I was like, well, this is interesting, and this is kind of like, harkening back to my days of my youth.
Yeah, and like, it's just an interesting story.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's gone out in the world. I mean, he's, successful. And he kind of shows the real struggles of being a chef.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The pressure and the... You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, I do.
Trying to build something from scratch and... You know what I mean? Like, not scratch, but rebuild something.
I always feel like it's one of those things that, like, nobody understands what a high-pressure job that is.
No.
At all.
No.
Like, unless you're there. And, like, I mean, I did it short order working for Eden Park. You've worked for other, like, you've worked for, big corporations like Applebee's, but you've also worked
Small kitchens.
Yeah, small kitchens. Like, you've done a lot more than I have.
Mm.
But at the same time, like, I can't imagine the pressure of, like, a high-end restaurant having your name attached to...
Well, this isn't high-end.
Right, but he is.
He is, but the restaurant is.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like... But
Either
like,
way.
Right. But, like, I'm just talking in general, not just so much about the show, but in general, like, having your name attached, like in that world, reputation is everything.
Yep.
Yeah,
it is.
From the people you hire, to, like, what the food is like, if the food is being put out sucks that day, that's going on your reputation.
Right.
So every day has to be a good day. You can't have a bad day.
Right. But it's all positions are critical within that restaurant.
Right.
It's almost like you're equals.
Right.
From the dishwasher to the prep cook to the line cook to the expediter to the head chef.
Like, as weird as this sounds, Ratatouille explains this perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, as weird, like a Pixar movie about a rat that can cook explains this perfectly.
Yeah.
But like, you're right, like, every single, the soup boy is important, and like I said, like, you can't, it completely different circumstances, but much like being a surgeon, you can't have a bad day.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like high pressure job, and like, I can't imagine like a guy like so I think what's interesting about it is, like, so here's a guy like that who's lived on that razor's edge, and now he's like bringing that mentality, to a diner.
Yeah, and then you add on top of that all the mental baggage that comes with his brother's death.
Right. Yeah.
So you get it, right?
Yeah, I get the concept.
Yeah, it's such a good fucking show. I'm telling you, you're gonna love it. I was
like, there's a reason why chefs are alcoholics.
correct.
I mean, honestly, like, people in that industry, there's a reason why they have a high alcoholism rate.
Yeah, and drug rate.
Because...
But you will appreciate this show, hands down, of what you're witnessing.
Right.
Like, it's just written real well.
Yeah.
And there's a good story there. And it's not just one-sided.
Yeah.
There's multiple stories here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just written very good. I think that's why it probably got the 100%.
Yeah.
An 85 or 90 on Metacritic or whatever. Because it's that good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a superb show.
Yeah.
And it's gritty.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I highly suggest this show, especially if you're in the cooking industry.
Yeah. Yeah, I always thought, like, like, as goofy of a movie as it fucking is, that one,
Waiting,
yeah. That was such an accurate depiction of, like, working in a restaurant like that.
Yeah.
Like every single person in there I worked with at some point or another.
You're right.
You know, like it's a comedy, but it felt real.
Yeah.
Like Clerks did. Like it was Clerks for the restaurant industry.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like it's much it's the same thing. Like it weirdly like Office Space is kind of the same way because I've working in an office.
Yeah.
Like I have been. Like I'm like, wow, that's far too accurate for being a comedy.
Right.
You know, but like Waiting was like so head on the nose.
Mm-hmm. But the cool thing about it too is the knowledge base that, you know, whoever were their sources for knowledge for this stuff.
Yeah.
Or personal experience, whatever.
Right. Probably more along personal experience. So you have to have lived it to have gotten it that fucking right.
Right, and that's what I said about this too.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like, this was a different scenario, but at the same point, tickets are flooding it in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get it. You know,
Yeah.
I understood, but yeah, you just have to watch it. Man.
Yeah.
It's just really fucking good.
Yeah.
And the one thing, and I'm not spoiling anything by saying, but they talk to each other like, yeah, chef.
Yeah.
Hey, chef.
Yeah.
Yeah, chef. No, chef. Like, that's how they speak.
Right.
And so, I love the terminology.
Right.
Right.
But
I've
like
worked in a place like that.
Right. But he has that level of expertise. Like, I never worked with anybody like that.
But he says it back to them.
Yeah.
So, he's working with people mostly that are not chefs.
Right.
Right.
Not even close.
I mean, they're just working the kitchen, like,
Yeah.
you know, and he responds to them as chef.
Yeah.
So there's a level of respect there.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So you gotta watch this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, it's definitely, like I said,
The surprise last ending.
like I said, it's definitely on my watch list. Like I was like, okay, I got to keep an eye on this. I want to watch it at some point. Like, I got a couple of things. I still have to watch Wheel of Time.
Hey, Lise. Yeah. Review of The Bear.
Like, nobody's gonna hear this.
So stressful, but so good.
Okay.
What would you rank it at a percentage?
The second to last episode is probably one of the best hour. Well, not even. I don't even know how long.
It's an hour.
Was. It didn't feel like an hour.
Yeah.
But probably 9.5 out of 10.
Huh? There you go.
It was amazing.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You know, I think you'll love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
I watched the new season of Alone. I had to.
Yeah.
Because I watched the last, Alone, where they throw him in British Columbia somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Survivalist thing.
Yeah.
But it's not like scripted or people or anything.
Right.
They take tripods in, and
Yeah.
whoever comes out in the end wins $500,000.
Yeah.
So I watched that. I didn't like it as well as I liked the previous seasons.
Yeah.
I thought it was... I mean, I think they were going for ratings.
Right.
So they put him in the middle of Bear Central.
Yeah.
Like brown bear, grizzlies, black bear. Bears everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there were certain things about it, I felt that they didn't focus more on the hunting aspect on this season.
Yeah.
It was more the fishing, while the other season, you had guys picking off fucking grouse with bow and arrow. These guys were dead eyes.
Yeah.
Plugging squirrels. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? They were just they
Yeah.
were killing everything. This year they couldn't kill squirrel.
Yeah.
It was illegal for them to kill squirrel.
Wow.
It was illegal for them to kill bear. They can pretty much kill, I think, any fowl.
Yeah.
Any bird. They couldn't kill... They could kill a mountain lion.
Yeah.
You never see mountain lions. Even when you're in mountain lion territory, you never see them. Anyway, it just wasn't.
Rabbits.
And rabbits.
Yeah.
They can use snares,
Yeah.
snare rabbits and stuff, or plug them.
Yeah.
But there was like no deer anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some, but not. It was scarce.
Yeah.
So it just kind of was like, I didn't like it as much because I saw them like more foraging and then, you know, for roots and berries and stuff like that, cranberries, all that kind of crap.
Yeah.
And some of them trying to fish, you know. And so it wasn't as good of a season. The guy who won it deserved to win it.
Yeah.
But he was spoilers. He was the only one that killed a deer.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, but he ran out of deer meat. Like, he was ready to give up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he didn't think he was going to pass his next wellness check.
Yeah.
Because he had lost, like, 30% of his body mass.
Right, yeah.
But, yeah. And the homes weren't as cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I was really into that part on how they constructed their homes. And
like a guy that I showed you on there, like doing the dugout and stuff.
Yeah. So I got that, and, like, just some foolishness. Like, going in the water to fix your net when the water's 38 degrees.
Yeah.
Your brain should tell you more than that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, something bad is going to happen to you.
Yeah.
You're going to go into hypothermic shock. Yeah, it's just.
Well, did you see they're doing Naked and Afraid in winter conditions?
Yeah, right. I believe you. I'm just saying that I don't watch Naked and Afraid.
Neither do I.
Stupid.
But because I'm watching wrestling and there's a commercial for it, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. You can't do that.
No.
The first thing you have to make are shoes. They're walking on snow.
Yeah, no way.
You can't do it.
Yeah. It's frostbite.
Yeah.
There's no way.
There's no way anybody survives this.
No. That's why I don't watch those shows like that. That's why I watch shows like Alone and stuff like that, because I think they're more realistic. They are more realistic.
Well, I definitely think like the original putting some people in the woods or someplace warm, naked, makes more sense.
Right.
Now, construct what you need to construct using your knowledge. If you want to wear clothes, fine. If you don't, fine. We don't care.
Yeah.
But when you're the first thing you have to do, if you're being dropped into the tundra naked, is you need to construct clothing.
Yeah.
Like, you need to kill something to build clothes.
Right.
The first thing I need are my feet.
Yeah.
Because if I don't have my feet protected, I can do nothing.
Well, your whole body's exposed.
Right. But it seems like that has to be the very first thing I have to take care of.
I mean, especially at night, you see people that go out on winter nights in those Arctic conditions.
Yeah.
They're completely covered.
Yeah.
I mean, their face is covered. They'll have goggles on.
Yeah.
And hats that come down and over.
Yeah.
This is completely covered. No skin showing because that's automatic frostbite.
Yeah. So,
minus 40, 50, 60 wind chill. Minus 30, 40 at night.
Yeah.
You're not surviving that.
No. But so it was just like one of those things where I was just like, yeah, this can't be good.
Yeah. I think I watched a couple episodes of Naked and Afraid when they were in the desert. Of course I hated it.
Yeah.
But I mean, Scorpion, I don't know, rung him on the balls or some shit.
Yeah.
Or his leg or something.
Yeah.
It was near his balls.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
done.
Yeah, I'm done. This is stupid.
Yeah.
This is dumb.
I've always said, and I know the reason they don't do it, but I've always said they should do Survivor in a cold temperature.
Yeah.
But they don't do it because you can't get the young pretty girls in, bras and underwear.
Right.
Nobody's going to watch Alone because everybody's covered up. You know what I mean? So it's that thing of from a rating standpoint, we don't want to cover up these pretty young people because we want you to see them.
Right.
Yeah. No. So.
Yeah. So I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't that impressed with this season. I wanted to see more better fishing. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they have a laundry list that they get to take with them. They don't get to take a whole lot, but things you need.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like fire starter.
Yeah.
One guy shows this mean ass saw he took, and that really helped him with like his building, his construction.
Yeah.
Bow and arrow, fishing line. I don't think they can take like poles, but they had paratrooper cord and stuff like that they can make nets out of. And it's just like the guy who I thought was going to win won second.
Yeah.
And that's because he was like 300 pounds.
Yeah.
And I said, he might win.
Yeah.
He might pull it out.
Right.
Because you had a lot of these survivalists that were small, that were skinny to begin with.
Yeah.
And dude openly admitted right there, he said, yeah, I ate like fucking crazy for like 4 months.
Yeah.
I packed on 65 pounds of fat.
Yeah.
Before I even started this thing.
Yeah.
On purpose.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because he said if he, did bad at certain things, he knew he could outlast him just in his body fat alone.
Yeah.
And he almost did. He almost pulled it off just on his body fat.
Yeah.
I think if he wouldn't have messed up his ankle, that's not why he got kicked off, but I think if he didn't mess up his ankle, I think he'd have been a lot better off. Yeah. He couldn't get fishing down either.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that pissed me off, because I was like, if this dude had fish, I think he'd have won it.
Yeah.
Because his mentality was there. I mean, like, he was like, yeah, fucking. You know what I mean? Like, and he wasn't like this. He was like a Pacific Islander or some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, not huge Pacific Islander, but
right. Yeah.
He was a Pacific. Like, there was some. He was an Indian. There was something in him. I think it was Pacific Islander.
Yeah.
But this brother was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But like, you watch a show and it's like, and I don't even know, but I mean, like, I do know that like fish don't come to, like, when it gets cold, they go deeper.
Yeah. To the warm water.
Do you know what I mean? So they go deeper, so you have to get nets deeper.
Right.
In order to be able to catch fish. And he was pretty much on shoreline trying to catch fish.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
I ain't gonna do it.
Nah, it's not gonna do it. And Barry's only gonna take you so far.
Yeah.
Barry's onions, that's what he was eating.
Yeah.
But he lost through, and he made it to like the 70th day. I mean, that's a long time.
That is. Yeah.
And I think he lost 75 pounds.
Wow. Yeah.
And he still had some chunk on him.
Yeah.
So he still had more to go.
Yeah.
But like another person, the guy who won, I think lost 27% of his body mass index.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like, the one dude, I don't know when he tapped out, but one dude was so thin that you could start seeing the bone structure in his cheeks.
Yeah.
He started looking
gaunt,
emaciated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, man. But like, yeah, the whole time they killed one deer. And I just was like, I need to see more death. I mean, there was one.
Wouldn't that, like, from an energy standpoint, though, like, because, like, you're not taking a deer out with that shot. Now you got to track it.
Well, it was funny.
It bleeds out.
He took the shot.
Yeah.
And he got it in the lungs.
Okay.
And he tracked it not very far. And he drugged that shit over to a certain space, and he took what he needed.
Yeah.
Because you're in bear country, and bears are all over.
Right.
So he took what he needed. The hindquarters and everything like that. Yeah. And that's how he won. I'm telling you, because the guy couldn't fish worth shit.
Right.
And that deer meat, and he built a smoker.
Yeah.
Like, he smoked all the meat.
Yeah.
and built like a reinforced smoker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like thick logs.
Yeah.
You know? And, I mean, he did it right.
Right.
So he had a lot of, he had a lot of smoked deer meat.
Yeah.
To take him through. But eventually he ran out of deer meat.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? And then he was trying to fish and he couldn't.
Yeah.
You know. He couldn't get enough fish to. And when you're that fucking down, dude.
Yeah.
Like, going to try to fish. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you have no energy to begin with.
Right.
And you have to walk somewhere to try to fish.
Yeah.
No way, man. He was out. Okay. Break. Break.
All right. Well, now that the air is cleared.
Yeah.
Phew, doogie. So, little news that broke this week. Apparently, Disney Plus is going to be making a TV series based upon the book series, The Inheritance Cycle.
Okay.
Now, the first book in that series is Aragon.
Okay.
That those who may remember, that was a movie that sucked horribly.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, it was initially a book written by Christopher Paolini. It's a young adult book, young adult series. And it's basically the best way I can describe it, I read the first book. And it just reminded me of a ripoff of Star Wars and Dragon Riders of Pern.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's exactly what it was.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And reading it, like, I think the author was, like, 14 when he wrote the first book.
Okay.
And to me, it read like this was written by a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was shocked that this was something that was printed.
Okay.
Not that it was bad, but it was like, it just had that feel of like, I before I even knew that this was like a 14-year-old that wrote this, I was like, man, how old was the person that wrote this? This is written like, feels like it was written by a kid.
Yeah.
And then I did the research. I was like, oh, it was written by a kid.
Nice.
I'm not overly excited for this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a generation of people. I know Thad loved the movie. Thad was, like, bummed that the movie tanked and they didn't make a second. And, like, I was like, it wasn't that good.
Yeah.
Like, I would imagine, this ranks right up there with Potter as far as, like, book sales.
Yeah.
Like, it did extraordinarily well.
Yeah.
So I imagine there is a generation of kids, probably your daughter's age, who, like, grew up with these books, maybe a little older, but they grew up with these books, and these are books that they, like, this is going to draw them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's becoming that thing of, like, the things I grew up with are no longer what's being used. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, well, this was written in 2001, and we're going to aim at this group because they're the ones with disposable income now. It's like an odd thing. So I can deal with that. But at the same time, like it is interesting, like, that's the demographic they're probably aiming for, is like 25 to 30-year-olds who grew up reading this.
Yeah.
And are now like, oh, they're making my favorite book when I was a kid into a movie.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you.
And not that, like, even like when I was a kid, not like there was a lot of, like, young adult books that were good. There really weren't.
No. No, not really. That became a thing later on.
Yeah. Like, it really did. Like, it was, like, I was reading, like, literally, like, I read Dune when I was 12.
Interview
Interview with a Vampire, I read it, you know, as a teenager. Dragon Riders of Pern, I read as a teenager.
Yeah.
You know, I was reading stuff like that. Like, there was no books aimed at kids my age to...
Yeah, get into.
Yeah. And if there were, I don't know what they were, because they probably sucked.
Yeah.
In all honesty.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, the fantasy and science fiction genre wasn't trying to tap into... Like, the way they were tapping into us was like, yeah, you should read this book that was written in the 60s.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You should be reading Foundation by Isaac Asimov, or you should be reading Rendezvous with Rama. You know, like...
Yeah.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Well, hopefully it'll be good.
I hope it is. Like, I mean, I don't have high hopes because I know, like, the basis of at least the story for the first book, and, you know, the first book didn't leave me wanting. Like, I didn't read any of the others.
Right.
You know? I read Potter. I tore through Potter.
Yeah.
All those books.
Yeah.
Like, even like the first one, which admittedly is written for an 11-year-old.
Yeah.
I tore through.
Yeah.
It was amazing to read.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, and like they've tapped into that. Like, you know, you look at like the Maze Runner series and Percy Jackson and like all the stuff that they've done over the Twilight. You know, like all the stuff Hunger Games. You know, all the stuff they've kind of tapped into that's like based upon like, well, these are meant for young adults.
Right.
Like 15 to 18-year-olds. You know, which is a market they want to tap into. Like I said, I mean, it's like this odd thing of like this market. Like, I guess Rawlings kind of created it, I want to say.
Yeah.
And then everybody else kind of like ran to it.
Yeah.
And they sell well.
Yeah, they do. I mean, they're popular.
Yeah.
Yes, like I said, hopefully it'll be good. Who knows? Did you see the trailer for The Sandman?
I did.
What do you think?
I think it looks amazing.
I know it doesn't.
It does. I mean, it looks. I'm unfortunately someone who's never read the books.
Right.
One of my biggest regrets in life is that I didn't read the books.
Yeah.
And I'd like to read the books at some point. Like I was just like, the other day I was on Amazon pricing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I should start reading these. Like somebody was like selling like the entire thing. It was like $350. I'm like, oh, I'm not spending $350.
Yeah.
But I need to start, you know, building this collection of, you know, and but I know a little bit. Like I know the very, very basics of what the story is and the characters and, you know, and stuff like that. And I really look forward to seeing how this world is portrayed.
Lisa said it looks on point.
Yeah.
I think Gaiman was there every step of the way.
Yeah, he was very involved with this.
Yeah. Which he should be.
Right.
Props to that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it looks interesting.
It does.
Hopefully it'll take off.
I think it will. Like, I think that's one of those books I think most people who have read comic books hold in an extraordinarily high esteem.
Yeah. And
I think it's been like a fair going to watch. Now, I think with Netflix, I think their big thing is going to be how they go.
I know.
Like, because I have no doubt that, but if you look at those shows and you look at how Twitter tweeted them, it wasn't kind.
Yeah.
Like that one show you and I both, I can't think of the name of it. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, the one by Matt Faction. I can't think of the name of it. But, yeah, was not treated well at all on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, people embasted it. So, it's like one of those things where, like, I think, Netflix treats how something trends, particularly in the first 2 weeks. And if it doesn't do well, they're more than happy to, like, say, yeah, fuck it, we won't do a second season.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I know. They tend to... What was that one show they got rid of that I loved? No, not... I don't know if it was Netflix or not. The Expanse. That's gone.
Yeah, Amazon picked that up to finish it off, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was a show that it was like... They committed to giving it a finish.
Yeah.
Because I think it was, like, killed... And Amazon picked it up so they could get at least a finish.
Yeah.
Which is what so many people like hope for other shows. Like, and it's like one of those things, like especially like a network show. Like, I don't see how you can say, like, if nobody's watching the show, and it's not trending on social media, like, then why should, like, because, like, 500,000 people are watching it, why should, like, Netflix spend a couple $1 million to save a show that probably isn't going to get that many eyes on it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, for years, that was always like, well, Netflix is going to save Serenity.
Yeah.
They're going to bring back Firefly. Well, no, they're not.
Yeah.
No. Like, I'm sorry. As popular as that show is, it's not that popular.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. If it was, they probably would have made a second movie.
True.
So, I mean, like, there are things like that like drive me nuts. That like Manifest. Like, you know, it goes like 2 or 3 seasons, and nobody was watching the show, so NBC dumped it. But, like, you know, the 100,000 fans that did, like, you know, we need Netflix to pick it up so we can get get the conclusion. Oh, you know, I think Netflix did.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, like, there are other shows where it's just like, I don't. Netflix and Amazon and.
What about Lost in Space, though?
But it got the conclusion. Like, I feel like they handled that right.
Okay.
Like, would I have loved to have seen that continue on? 100%.
Yeah.
I loved that show.
It was a good show.
But you gave me three phenomenal seasons.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Yeah.
You know, you gave me a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah.
Like, it's always like Battlestar Galactica ran for 5 seasons. And there are those who are like, well, you know, why didn't it go on further? Well, Ronald Moore was like, I'm reaching the end of my story.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but the end of my story is coming up. Like, I could give you some bullshit and run into the ground, or I could tell my story.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. They told a 5-season story.
Yeah.
And it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And it's like, I feel like if they had gone to a 6th season, like, you would have just been dragging it out.
Yeah.
So I applaud a creator who does that. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know how much the creator wanted to kill Lost in Space, or how much Netflix was like, yeah, it's good, but not great. Can you wrap it up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But either way, at least with that show, it had enough of a following that Netflix allowed them to at least finish telling the tale. And I like that. And it was, like I said, 3 phenomenal seasons. And I feel like if it had gone to a 4th, now you're just dragging it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We did have good three seasons.
Right. You told a very concise, amazing story. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, I think the show, like, I always look at and I say, man, they dragged that out too long, was Lost.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like, ABC's like, this is a cash cow. People watch. It's the water cooler show. People are trying to figure shit out. Let's just keep going as long as we can.
Yeah.
You know, And I get that, but I feel like maybe it's season 4. You should have been like, yeah, let's bring it to an end.
Did you see the new trailer for Rings?
Yes.
Or the new, not Rings, but
Power of the Ring or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? Thoughts?
I am very intrigued by it.
Me too.
Like, it's that thing where I'm looking at it and I'm saying that, like, I honestly, I thought to myself, like, when I announced it, I'm like, I don't need any more from Middle Earth. I'm done.
Yeah, yeah.
And this looks very, very interesting.
Yeah, it has a different vibe than The Hobbit did.
Yeah. It has a different vibe than like all what Jackson did.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
But at the same point, like, when they announced The Hobbit, I felt like that was, like, really pushed. Like, you know.
I mean, you didn't need the third movie.
Nah.
I should have been told him to.
Yeah.
That was the third movie. The third movie is a money grab.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
And it just didn't look as good. I thought there were certain parts of The Hobbit, though, like, were like superb.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And then there were other parts of it that were like, you know what I mean? Like, the whole meeting is like one of the most exciting parts of the.
Yeah.
It's told very well.
Yeah.
Mark on the door.
Yeah.
The whole, you know, Gandalf.
Yeah.
I mean, it was phenomenal. His interaction with
the dwarves and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was really good.
Yeah.
The first movie was fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought.
Oh, yeah.
And then it just crept, you know?
Yeah.
But, like you said, it didn't need a third movie.
Yeah.
At all.
No. Like, they just dragged that shit out to drag that shit out.
Movie. I mean, the book's short.
Yeah, it's not that long of a book.
Yeah. Anyway, but this looks good. I mean, it looks... I think it looks good. Anyway.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah.
It leaves me wanting more. Like,
yeah.
I want to see more.
Right.
But visually, it looks amazing.
Yeah. Did you see the trailer for House of the Dragon?
I've been purposely not trying to watch that.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, are you avoiding the show?
Are
you that upset with Game of Thrones that even after this much distance, you're like, fuck it, even with Matt Smith being in it?
I know, that's the thing, Matt Smith. Yeah, I know, it's Matt Smith. Right?
Yeah.
I think I'm still pissed off at Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I thought it was done so shittily.
Yeah.
That... Yeah, I'm one of those people that was pissed off at the end of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just felt betrayed. I invested that much time in that show, and I got that. That was my ending.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't have much trust in it.
Right.
And there's another reason, too. I don't know how I feel about prequels. I'm so done with prequels. It's this trend now.
It is, but it's a...
I know. Lord of the Rings, same thing.
No. I'm not. I wasn't going to go there. I was going to go here. I feel like this is far enough back in history that it has no effect on the story we've seen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this is... That's the interesting thing. Like, what's the problem with the Star Wars prequels? Well, you know, we're at a point where I know who's going to survive and who's not going to survive. I know the end of the story. With this, it's far enough back in history, I don't know the end of the story.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I could probably figure it out, but at the same time, it's one of those things where it's just like none of the characters that we saw in the series are going to be in this. It's far enough back in history where like everybody's new. You know the families, you know the houses, but you don't know these characters.
Yeah.
You know, so there's that aspect of it. So like I feel like the good thing about this series is it doesn't have to set up the world.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to explain who House Baratheon is. It doesn't have to explain who the Starks are. It doesn't have to explain who the Lannisters are. They're all there already.
Yeah.
You know, these houses are already set.
Yeah.
Now, let's tell this story about the split of the House Targaryen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's interesting.
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it's good. It looked good. The trailer I was impressed with. But, you know, at the same I get what, I'm not as mad at it as you are or Tim is or many other people. I was a little bummed. But at the same time, like, I think the only thing that disappoints me is that it ends up with Bran on the throne. Like, that's the one guy I'm like, him?
I can't. That's exactly what I said when I watched it.
Other than that, like Jon being banished beyond the wall, the death of the Khaleesi, you know, all that other stuff, like her going insane, I was fine with every single bit of it.
And I get that. I do.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I get that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to go in this
right.
wormhole. But I get all that.
Right.
But, I mean,
it was just, like, I was like...
As in Ragnarok.
Yeah.
There was no battle. Right? There was no battle in Ragnarok. The battle that was the end-all, be-all battles, you barely saw anything of.
Yeah.
Visually, you couldn't see anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it was just like, are they doing this on purpose because they just didn't want to film it?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You had Battle of the Bastards, was like, it was amazing.
Right.
Right? I mean,
yeah.
It was a great battle.
Right.
I mean, ranks up there with the Battle of Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah.
You know? And you give me whatever this is.
Yeah.
You give me one good dragon shot.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, it was bad.
Right.
It was really bad.
I get what you're saying.
And so I don't really have much trust in them running a series.
Right.
And they've lost my trust. I mean, I watched that show faithfully.
Does it give you a little bit more faith if I tell you that the guys who produced and came up with that ending aren't involved with this show?
Well, they better not be.
They're not.
Well, they can't be. Or people wouldn't watch the show at all.
Well,
they almost blackballed themselves from... Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, they were going to do that show Confederacy until people were like, you want to do what? A show where the Confederacy won? Oh, no. We cannot have this. Like there was that's where the uprising really was. Like, the HBO was like, yeah, we're going to do this show with them about what if the Confederacy won the Civil War. And people were like, you going to do what?
I think if you turn that, it could be an interesting show.
About
an uprising.
Right.
From that.
I mean, it's kind of like that show, The Man in the High Tower.
Yeah. Like
the concept of, but like it was an alternate dimension and stuff from our dimension was leaking in where the Germany had lost.
Yeah.
You know, like, so there was like the thing going on there. So it's a little bit more sci-fi than that. But like, I think you're right. Like, I think the concept of the show was interesting. And like, unfortunately, like me saying that is like, well, you're a racist.
No, I know.
Right. You know, but yet I think like if you were to present something where like, yes, Confederacy won, we're 150 years, 200 years later from the Civil War, and this is what the world is like, but yet the seeds of revolution are rising.
Yeah.
Now you've got an interesting story.
Yeah, that's
know what I mean?
It's a good story to tell.
Right. Now I don't know if that's what they were going to do. It was just
I have no idea.
All that was released was this is the concept, and people were like, "Oh no, you cannot."
Well, I think they were more in, "Oh no, you cannot," because of. Was it because of subject matter, or was it because of you fucked this up so royally?
It was subject matter.
Okay.
It was like the NAACP and like a lot of organizations were like, you cannot depict slavery in modern times.
I mean, I get that.
Yeah. Like,
no, I mean,
like it was like, I think some person would refer to it as an old white man's fantasy. And I was like, come on now.
Yeah, but I mean, it's all
right. But so like it got shot down. I'm not defending the show because I don't know what like other than like the what if concept. I know nothing else about it, so I can't defend it.
Right.
But I was like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, but like yeah, I mean, so that's where they kind of got themselves railroaded.
Right.
Yeah, they're like, okay, yeah, we can't do anything. I mean, they're gonna do a Star Wars movie.
So is Watala.
He still is.
Yeah. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I don't know. I just don't see how that humor fits into that world.
I mean,
he's gonna bring it though. I mean, that's his shtick.
Sensibility.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he does.
Right. Like I don't know either. Like
where does that fit?
But and I haven't watched it, and it's shame on me for having not watched it yet. But I haven't watched Jojo Rabbit yet.
Yeah.
I've heard that's phenomenal.
I don't think I've watched it either.
Yeah.
But at the same point, I mean, look at Disney on what they're doing.
Right.
Like, I'm looking at, I don't know, the prequel to fucking,
Well, they got nothing right now.
huh?
They got nothing.
The prequel to, oh my God, not Solo, but.
Oh, Andor, you mean?
Yeah, Andor.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a TV show.
Yeah, I know, but it's a prequel.
Yeah.
Again, I already know what happens to this guy.
But you also have Ahsoka coming up.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
But see, that's an area that hasn't really been delved in.
Right. But I think like
we know what happens.
Right. But I think but you're right. But I think what's interesting is like the Andor character was interesting just from the standpoint of like he was an assassin essentially.
I know, but I mean
like so like the dirty laundry of the rebellion was like his doing.
Right.
So I so I find that aspect of it. I find the story interesting. One season of it. That's all I want.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't need a second season. Kind of show me this, and I'm done. But
I mean,
but I get what you're saying.
I mean,
they don't have any. As far as the movie goes, they got nothing in the pipeline. They got Watala, and they got Ryan Johnson at some point, and that's it.
Yeah. They have to be working on something.
They're not. They are not.
They have to be. Sean.
I agree.
This is Disney. I mean, they
Right.
have to be working on something.
Favreau
has to be working on something.
They got so fucked up by The Last Jedi that they put everything on hold. Everything.
Well, except Mando.
Well, yeah, the TV shows. I'm talking movies.
Yeah.
They got so fucked up by Last Jedi, they're like, put their hands up in the air and said, we give up.
Yeah.
All right, well. let's wrap this up before we go any further down this rabbit hole.
All right. Sounds good.
So remember, there are a number of different ways you can reach out and touch us.
Hey.
You can send us an email. Let me check. I think Thad said something poignant in his email. Let me double check this. Well, Thad's apparently excited that the Steelers are back in training camp, and he's upset Deontay Johnson is having a sit-in. Which also reminds me, Tim will be taking up the mantle of fantasy football commissioner this year. So if you would like to participate in the Pittsburgh Nerd podcast fantasy football league, send me an email so I can pass that on to Tim to send you an invite.
Okay.
So there's that.
Yeah.
And again, our email address is pittsburghnerd@yahoo.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. We are very, very easy to find. And lastly, we're also a member of a number of podcasting networks. You can find us on the Tangent Bound Network, the Weeby Geeks Network, and the Pod Breed Network. Just give them a Google search and you'll find all the other great podcasts they have to offer. And lastly, as always, I want to thank you, dear listener, for taking the time to check us out each and every week. We can't thank you enough for your support.
We do.
And on that note, the dreamer has awakened.
Peace.